I've just finished a 9-page comic project which I drew on Bristol board with ink and Copic markers. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I really struggled to get this thing finished, and in this video I'm going to attempt to explain why. Or at least that's what I was intending to do when I started, but as I've been writing this script, it's turned into a video about my entire artistic development over the past year. I've only really been drawing with any kind of regularity since October 2019, almost 1 year ago. So pretty much all of my art skills have been picked up in the past year, and the chances are you people watching will have stronger draftsmanship skills than I do. For the past year, however, I have been drawing pretty much every single day, and my skills have been gradually improving in that time. Making art and learning as you go does have a lot of ups and downs along the way, and today I'm going to go through a few of the ones I've had over the past year, starting from the very beginning. Let's start from the very beginning. Part 1. The drawings I was doing before I started taking it seriously. Saying that I only started drawing in October 2019 isn't strictly true, because I did do the odd drawing before that. These were mainly sketches that I would do using a fine liner or a marker pen. I didn't used to use pencil because I didn't like using pencil. Pencil is a medium that encourages you to keep rubbing things out and correcting what you've drawn, and this felt slightly limiting to me because I just wanted to draw for the fun of it, and the limitations of a permanent medium meant that I was forced to just accept what I had drawn rather than obsessing over it. I don't have many examples of this style of drawing because I often didn't used to hold on to them. A lot of the time I was doing these drawings whilst sitting in a pub, so I just used to leave them on the table when I'd finished. So they've probably just ended up in a glass bin. The ones that I did keep I've moved into my attic, as I'm trying to keep a tidier living space these days, but these ones here give you an idea of what these types of drawings were like. These drawings are self-portraits that I drew whilst on the toilet, and one of them has a big black drip in the middle of it, as it was drawn with a paint pen that was dripping.
That's what she said.
They are very scratchy and sketchy. They are naive, and they don't employ any draftsmanship skill at all. There's no structural work involved in them either. I basically just used to start off by drawing the eyes and then work my way outwards. I'm still personally quite fond of these drawings that I used to do though, because they do have quite a lot of energy and personality to them. Most of these types of pictures weren't self-portraits. They would usually be pictures of family members, friends, or random people in the street. I usually showed them to the person who was depicted afterwards, and depending on their taste, politeness, or how well I'd managed to illustrate them, they would either react by laughing at how bad it was, or saying that they thought it looked really cool. Either way, I wasn't really bothered because I wasn't intending to actually go anywhere with my drawing. I've always been a massive fan of fine art, however, particularly painting, and this did make me think a little bit about whether I could create meaningful fine art myself. My favourite forms of fine art are probably the post-impressionist varieties. Fauvism and expressionism are art movements that I really love. For me, they are the perfect halfway point between realism, where the artist attempts to disguise the natural movements of their hand in order to present a better representation of reality, and abstract expressionism, where the artist attempts to disguise the human tendency towards representing reality in order to present a better representation of the movements of their hand. Fauvism and expressionism to me seem like the freest forms of painting because they are paintings where the artist does not attempt to chastise the natural movements of their own hand, but at the same time they do not deny their subconscious its natural human tendency to see and represent images. One criticism people often make about less traditional forms of art is that they believe someone who is not an artist could easily recreate the work. In other words, my child could do that. This is usually presented by those people as a negative, but I personally see it as a positive. The fact that there seems to be a level of accessibility in art, at least in the work itself, is a good thing. I think art should be something that everyone feels like they can participate in. It shouldn't be something that people feel as if they will never be good enough to participate in themselves. Everyone should be making art, if they want to. And if you see some famous art that you think you could do yourself, you should see that as a liberating thing. For me though, I realised that although I liked the energy of my naive sketches, what I really wanted to be able to do was to create imagery and narratives from my imagination. And trying to do this in a permanent medium such as pen wasn't returning the results that I wanted. So I decided I needed to find a new way of drawing. Part 2. Itchy hand. Part 2. Taking drawing more seriously.